Are you someone who feels deeply, absorbs other people's emotions and energy, and then feels drained? In today's video, I want to talk about how to protect yourself as an empath. Hi everyone, Mireille Nicole here. I am really excited to talk about this subject because a lot of women that come to me identify as an empath. And this can be, when it's not leveraged in the best way in relationships, this can be really difficult on us as empaths. And I know for a long time, I identified myself as an empath. I would say I still do, but I identify differently as an empath now that I know more about the differences between being codependent and an empath. And I talk about this a lot, right? The first step in really protecting yourself as an empath is really determining, okay, what is the difference between an empath and a codependent? And am I creating kind of a more difficult situation for myself by also being a bit codependent and leaning towards that side? So I have a lot of videos on codependency. I'll link to one of them here for you. You can go check that out. But really, the first step in protecting yourself against the world's energies around you as an empath is going to be to get really clear on what it means to be an empath. And I don't want you to not be an empath anymore, because it's definitely going to be a superpower for you. Being able to connect to other people's emotions can help really, and to their energy and to their vibe, can be a great way to build a deeper connection with people. And people like that, right? People love that you understand them and you are truly able to feel what they feel and put yourself in their shoes completely. But at the same time, if you are actually absorbing that energy and really letting it drain you, then it becomes a problem for you. And also, it's not going to be super helpful to the other person at the end of the day if you're then feeling drained and not showing up full of your own vibrancy and light. So being an empath can be very difficult in romantic relationships, because when we're in a relationship with someone, we really tend to get attuned to the other person's moods and emotions, and that can be extra draining. We have our own emotions from the relationship, our own moods from everything that's happening around in our life. So when we're taking that on from someone else too, we're just doubling the burden on ourselves. And when we don't have the tools or the skills to manage that, it can be really difficult for us. And we start losing kind of who we are and that spark inside of us, and we become less in a position or lose some of that strength towards helping other people, which is the gift that we have at the end of the day. Now, I always say, we have to take responsibility for ourselves. We can't change other people, but we actually can influence those things by being strong in ourselves. And when we're, let's call it, overly empathetic or leaning towards the codependency kind of in that space, then we become less in a position to really be that guiding light for other people, that like shining lighthouse for them. So the first step in really protecting yourself as an empath is to really start understanding yourself. So really look at whether or not, to what realm are you in terms of the empathy? Are you more on the codependent? And by codependent, just in a nutshell quickly, I just mean if you're really dependent and relying on other people's energies, right? Like if you're taking those on and then you have no space for your own emotions or your own feelings, or you're having a hard time turning that around and coming back to yourself. You're really owning other people's emotions, all right? And you need that to feel good about yourself. You need those other people's emotions. Hope that makes sense. I linked to a video. Go check it out. All right. So really understand yourself first and foremost. And the secondly is going to be to really be intentional in terms of the amount of time you spend with those people who drain you. And in a situation of a relationship, you might be saying, well, hey, I live with my partner. We're together all the time. What are ways that you can still find time for yourself, right? And kind of detach from that energy of your partner, because it's been, right? It's like scientifically shown that people attune to their partner's energies. Like when there's conflict, like our blood pressure rises. And actually, you know what? They've shown that during arguments and conflicts, men's blood pressure rises even higher than ours. And we tend to be able as women to bring it down faster, but theirs stays up longer. So a lot of times, right? Think back, are there situations where, you've kind of gone through something and you notice your partner's still upset about it and you're like, what the heck? There is a physiological reason for that too. All right. And if you're really empathetic, you might, again, again, take that on for yourself, make it mean things about you, let it drain you. So it's going to be really important to use some of these strategies I'm going to talk to you and share with you today. So understand yourself, and in certain situations when you can, right? Take space, take time for yourself. It can be something as simple as, calling up a friend, going for a walk, even just on your own, right? Having a little bit of that space for you to kind of work through that energy that maybe you've picked up before it gets absorbed, to kind of work through it, let it go, so that you can again show up as a stronger version of you. Because again, it comes down to that whole example of putting your oxygen mask on first, right? That very clear example we use all the time. You want to put your oxygen mask back on. If someone's taking it away with their energy, you need to give yourself some space, and you make it temporary, right? I don't mean like taking space and just being cold with your partner and just abandoning him, right? It's being very clear in terms of, okay, I'm doing this, I'm coming back, obviously, but you're just taking space for yourself so you can be a better version of yourself, or the real version of yourself. The other thing that's going to be very important for you as an empath and to protect yourself is to be really good with boundaries. So in terms of setting clear boundaries for yourself and especially enforcing them, that is usually the hardest part. And I have a bunch of videos on boundaries also. I'll link to them here. So first, get very, very clear on what it is that kind of drains your energy as an empath, what it is that you can handle or tolerate in a certain situation, and really stick to that. So if you're finding yourself in a situation and okay, you're starting to feel overwhelmed by another person's emotions, you have to be very clear with yourself of what is your breaking point, and make sure to get out of the situation or set a boundary for before that time. You're going to want to be able to gauge that, and then you're going to want to be able to work up the strength, right? And to share that with the other person, right? If you're feeling a certain way, then what are you going to do? And really follow through with that. And you know what? At the end of the day, that's great. That might make other people feel better to know that you're really feeling them. But what people truly need from you as an empath is just for you to listen to them, be a safe space for them, show them that you understand, show them that you hear the story, you hear what they're going through, and believe them. At the end of the day, they don't need you to take on their emotions. That's not beneficial to you. And at the end of the day, that doesn't help them so much, right? They can still get benefits and feel better in their own situations just by knowing someone's there for them and believes them and honors what they're going through. And the more you experience this for yourself, the more that you really understand, yourself as an empath, the more that you are setting those boundaries and protecting your space and your energy and your time. And the more you see that people are actually still going to be okay and they can work through their problems, like give them that power, right? You don't have to take it on and do it for them. And the more they still come back to you, right? The more you experience that, the more you will be able to enforce and create those boundaries, because you'll have built that trust in yourself that as an empath, you don't have to take every single thing on. You really just have to be there for them and believe them. And that doesn't have to impact your emotions or your feelings at all. So the last tool or strategy I wanted to share today is to really start practicing some self-cleansing exercises in terms of energy, right? Like clearing out this energy or these emotions that you're taking on from other people. And this can look like anything, right? It depends on what you prefer and what really resonates with you. It can be just like a lot of different grounding exercises or meditation, or you can journal things, or you can smudge. Anything that really, helps you come back to your own energy, your own emotions, and kind of clears out anything that's not yours. It's not yours to hold anymore. And I have to say, this is going to take maybe some trial and error on your part, and you might have to test different things. And I know for myself, there is nothing that 100% clears my energy. I have a lot of tools for myself that kind of help eliminate some of it. But, at some point, I just even accept for myself that, okay, I'm still going to have a little bit of that energy. I'm going to shift it. I still might think about it a little bit, but I don't have that expectation that there's going to be like one magic pill that's just going to cleanse my energy and I'm going to be fine. And I'm not going to think about other people's problems and that's just going to bring my energy all the way back up. Like, I am very clear with myself that, I'm going to do the best I can to remove some of this energy. If some kind of sticks with me, do you know what? I will get through. It will pass at a certain point in time. And actually, do you know what? One thing that's totally going to clear my energy, that's kind of codependent though, is, when something really good happens. So if I'm feeling drained and I get a dopamine hit from something, right? Like something awesome happens, or, I get great news news and something just snaps me out of it, that's great. Sometimes that'll just totally remove it. But for the most part, it's really kind of like a journey of, testing things that will cleanse my energy. It's about making it better so I can start functioning again and then start doing things again that bring my energy back up. It's not going to be like a magic bullet, right? That's just going to fix everything. So keep that in mind. Give yourself grace. You're an empath. You feel those emotions, but really the key is to really protect yourself in terms of limiting exposure as much as possible, knowing what's yours and what's not yours, and then working on these self-cleansing exercises, these energy cleansing exercises as much as possible to help you navigate out of that. And do you know what? Remember that as an empath, your intuition is your superpower. Like if you can feel that certain situations are going to be draining for you, certain people are going to be draining for you, really, really honor that. Trust that feeling, trust that inner voice, and do what you can in terms of to what extent do you expose yourself to that. And really, on the flip side, really focus on your self-care to help you kind of overcome or recalibrate if you have to find yourself in that situation. You have no choice but to be there. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Remember, being an empath is a gift, and the more you can actually kind of manage your energy through that and your own emotions through that, the more you can use that as your superpower in love and in life in general. You're going to be super connected to your partner and to all the relationships around you also. Now I'm curious, do you identify as an empath? Did this video land with you? Let me know in the comments. And if you have any questions, if you'd like any support or guidance with this, feel free to click on the application link below and let's have a chat to see where you're at, what your needs are, and how we can help you really leverage this superpower of yours in relationships. All right. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.